Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to have our first body class at Thupten Norbuling, and really especially grateful that Gina is going to kick off our program. Gina is a contemplative-based trauma and resiliency instructor and facilitator. She specializes in meditation, yoga, qigong, and martial arts. Gina is on the faculty of numerous organizations and works with private clients, as well as trains in clinical social workers, trauma therapists, and humanitarian aid workers. I mean, it's really incredible the work that Gina does. Gina is also founder and director of the Dention project, which offers body-mind practices and humanitarian aid to women and children in Uganda. And she also does trainings in East Africa. She's a student of Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Venerable Rabina. I mean, like I said, I'm really grateful. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm deeply honored, hugely honored. Rabina is incredibly special to me, Venerable Rabina. And I'm really happy to share practice and to share what I've been learning for myself and the practices that I've been learning for not just resiliency, but well-being. And also because they're fun, like they're fun and joyful to do. And I found that having a practice, as you all know, is it's a sanctuary, it's a refuge. And what I've discovered in many years of sharing practice and practicing is that this body of ours is the resource, and everything that we experience in life is because we have a body. And within it, the title of this series, The 5 Elements, is our ability to connect, to deeply connect. And one of the things about Qigong, right? So Qi means energy, and Gong is cultivation, is cultivating and connecting to that energy that is everywhere. And Taoism is especially aligned with Buddhism, but it's also practice that can be done regardless, right? If you have a body, you can practice, right? So what I'd like to do today to kind of kick off this series is share with you a seated meditation practice, and then we'll do some movement practice, and then at the end, kind of like a yoga class, we'll do like an end restorative practice, okay? So for me, like one of the beauties again of this practice is that we're just deeply connecting. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to ask, okay? And I know that we only have an hour. So we are gonna start with a seated practice. And this can be done in a chair, of course, or on a meditation cushion, as I am. If you are on a meditation cushion, I ask that you consider having your hips higher than your knees, right? So this way your legs don't fall asleep. All right, and we're just gonna start with a little bit of seated movement, just to kind of come into the body, in the same way that in the Buddhist tradition, we're opening channels. Same thing in the Qigong practice, right? But they're also known as meridians, the subtle body and the gross body. Rhonda, I love that you have the Golden Gate Bridge behind you. All right, it's beautiful. So if you are seated in a chair, find that you can come away from the back of the chair and that your feet are parallel and hip width apart. Okay, and if you're not really quite sure about this, because one of the parts of practice is also knowing where your body is in space. So if you're not quite sure if your feet are facing forward and that your knees are over your ankles, just take a look down. Yeah. And then we're going to take our hands onto our knees, and we'll just start with a little bit of a seated cat-cow, okay? So combining breath with movement. So inhale and round your spine. And then exhale, pull your chest through. And again, inhale, round. Exhale, pull your chest through. And see if while we're doing this, if you can bring your awareness to the spaces in between each vertebrae. So inhale, round. Exhale and arch. Perhaps finding the underside of your sternum. And we'll do one more. Inhale, round. Exhale and arch. And then come to neutral. And we'll do a little spinal twist. So take your left hand to your right knee, and then take your right hand behind you to whatever degree possible. Perhaps it's the side of the chair or the back of the chair. Inhale, lengthen the spine up. And exhale and twist. Trying not to let your knees come into the center line. And we'll do that again. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist. And as we twist here, maybe you can find your liver, which is on the right side of our body, and we're compressing it. So one more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and twist. And then come back through center and press the back of your right hand against your left knee or thigh. Roll that right shoulder open. And then come back to center again. And before we do the other side, see if you can just drop your awareness into your spine and notice what you notice. Perhaps one side feels more open or electric, or maybe it's even a different color. And if you don't notice anything, that's still a noticing, yeah? And then if you're seated cross-legged like I am, I highly recommend crisscrossing your legs the other way. And one of the reasons is to open the hips evenly, but also so that we're aware of our habits, right? Because the moment that we're aware of our habits, then we can have choice. And I've seen this in places where people literally have no choice, but the smallest of choices, even in what we do with our bodies and connecting that with our minds, that choice means we have freedom. Yeah. So we're going to do the other side. Take your right hand to your left knee. Take your left hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen the spine up. Exhale and twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and twist. And perhaps bringing your awareness to your internal organs, noticing what's happening. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale and twist. And then come back through center, counter twist to the other side, pressing the back of the left hand against the right knee or thigh and rolling that left shoulder open. And then coming back. Yeah, highly recommend doing that every day for your spinal health. Also feels good. So we're going to move into what is known as the microcosmic orbit, which sounds extraordinary. My cat's looking at me like she's listening to me. This is great. The microcosmic orbit is a seated meditation practice that utilizes visualization and breath work to move energy through us. Okay. And for me, and for you as well, perhaps, it is like a diagnostic tool. Okay. In yoga land, there's chakras, energy centers of the body, and energy can get stuck or it can flow, right? Some of you may be familiar with this. In Qigong, there are dantians, and these are energy centers. There's three main ones. The first is the root. Let me lower this a little bit. Okay. The root dantian is right below the belly button. Okay. And that is associated with the root of us, but also the earth. Okay. In Qigong, there's the three treasures. Not unlike the Tibetan Buddhist, there's a lot of numbers. In Qigong, the three treasures are the earth, the human, and the heavens. The middle dantian, right here, which is right in front of your sternum, about 3 to 4 inches, is associated with the heart. So your own heart, but also the human. Yeah. And then the upper dantian, which is right about at the third eye, is associated with the heavens. So really with the sun and the moon and the stars, and where we draw all of our energy from, as well as up from the earth. And that is associated with the Shen, the spirit of us. Okay. So we're going to cycle through and do a little orbit of this moving energy through us. And it's really interesting what happens. And what we'll do is utilize what is known as a pure Yawn Mudra. So in Qigong, as some of you may know, there's Yin and Yang. It's actually the other way, it's Yan and Yin. Yan is associated with the left hand and the sun. Yin is associated with, and that's typically more male, and Yin is more of the moon, okay, and female, and there's always that balance. And both sides are within us. So pure Yawn Mudra is thumb, pinky, and middle finger together. Okay, just like this. Yeah, and it's almost like there's like a magnet that like pulls the fingers together. And the other fingers aren't touching. Similar, not unlike like when we do our mandala, yeah? So we're gonna start with having our hands right below our belly button at the lower dantian. Okay. And so in all of these practices, there's also these little minute adjustments too of the subtle body that we work with. In yoga, there's mula bandha, right, in which we draw up on the pelvic floor. In Qigong, that is known as the earthly doors. So the earthly doors want to be closed. The crown of the skull is open, and this is known as the heavenly gate. Okay? And we'll get a little bit further into that when we do some standing poses. So we're going to do 2 orbits, 3 breaths in each dantian. I'm going to guide us through it. All right? So lengthen the spine up. Earthly doors are closed. Hands can gently touching each other, eyes open or closed, however you feel comfortable. If your eyes are open, I recommend dropping the gaze, softening the periphery. Okay, and we'll just start with a regular deep inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. And one more, inhaling. And exhaling. On the next inhalation, you can imagine drawing light into your hands and into the root dantian as we inhale. Gently hold it. And the exhale, it's kind of like it gets hotter and brighter. Like when we blow on a flame. And again, inhale. Gently hold it. And exhale. And one more, inhaling. Gently hold it. And exhale. And then take another inhale. And then on the exhale, send that light and energy skipping over the back of your spine, around the crown of your skull to your forehead. And you can raise the hands, the mudra, right to the third eye. Okay, and we'll be here for 3 breaths. So inhale, drawing light and energy. And gently cupping it, holding it. And then exhale, allowing it to flow into you. And again, inhale. And exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. And then inhale, slowly bringing your hands to right in front of the middle dantian. And cupping and containing that light and energy. And to exhale, fueling it. Now you might start to feel some heat building up in your hands. And we'll inhale again. And you can think of this light and energy fueling your heart, nourishing it as we exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. And then inhale, bring the hands back to the lower dantian, to the root. And all of the light and the energy of the stars funneling into you as we exhale. And again, inhaling. And as you exhale, maybe you can feel this kind of moving into your hips, your hip joints, your thighs, your bones, all the way down to your feet, rooting you to the earth as we inhale again. And exhale. And then another inhale. And then send this again, skipping over the back of your spine, up to the upper dantian. Hands raised, yep. And inhale. Cupping and containing. And then on the exhale, it's almost like it clears the cobwebs of our minds. Flowing into our eyes and our mouth and our throats as we again inhale. And exhale. Maybe even smoothing synapses. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. And then inhale slowly down to the middle dantian, cupping and containing it. And exhale, nourishing your heart. And again, inhaling. And exhaling. One more. Inhale. And exhale. And then we'll go back to the root. Hands come down just below the belly button. Inhaling. Gently holding. And then exhale. Feeding the root of you and your connection to the earth. And again, inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. So for the next 3 breaths or so, I'm going to encourage you to utilize this mudra to whichever dantian you felt needed more attention, right? For me, my upper dantian, I think, needed more attention, you know, some more clarity, perhaps. It's just not surprising, given everything. So I'm going to bring my hands here, and you do what feeds you. And we'll be here for 3 breaths, okay? And I'm not going to call the breath on this one. It's just inhale, hold it gently, and exhale, okay? And then after your 3rd breath, just bring your hands back down, or keep them there if they were already there. Take a deep inhale, and you can exhale slowly through your mouth. And then release the mudra, kind of peel your hands away from each other. Okay, and in this practice, we turn the hands up first to feel the energy of the heavens. And then we turn them down to feel the energy of the earth rising up to meet them. Right, all of the magnetic energy of the earth moving upward. And then we bring the hands down to feel the human muscle and tissue and bones, life. Yeah. And if you have your legs cross-legged and you want to extend them, please do. I always like, especially when I'm introducing a practice, to kind of talk about it a little bit so that we can absorb it and understand it and embody it. And what I mean by like feeling the human is that I think a lot of times we forget that we're alive. You know, like this is so extraordinary to be alive. And sometimes even just taking my hand and feeling the floor or the chair or whatever I'm sitting on, and then my other hand's on my leg, or it could be on your chest, but to really notice the difference, right? This is the quickening, the thrumming. And there's a different molecular vibration between this and the floor or the wooden chair. So as you go throughout your day, and many of you may already be practicing some form of mindfulness or not, but it's really, really interesting to just touch things. And we start first with touching them with our hands, right? We're mapping. And then we can begin to touch them with our minds. Yeah, and we'll start getting into that. That's the fun part. Anybody have any questions or thoughts? Anything come up? Anybody notice anything?
I felt a little sadness come up when I went into the lower level, the last, and I just wondered. I felt like I needed to give the middle one more time, but I feel sadness. Any reason?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's not surprising. I mean, we have a lot of unmetabolized grief in this country, all of us. And also, we may also have it personally. You know, when I practiced this morning, which seems like a really long time ago now, before I went into, I did a really long Tara practice, but before that, I was weeping. You know, and there's stuff that needed to move through, you know, and that's also the, what's the right word? That's what happens when we're human. Yeah, we have grief and the ability to hold it. And you know, I want to say one more thing about Rhonda about that, and then Mary, I want to hear what you have to say. The earth. I remember when my father passed away a couple of years ago, and there was a lot of trauma that came up, a lot of trauma. And I remember somebody saying to me, and I needed to weep, but I felt like it was going to be overwhelming. And a friend of mine said to me, she's like, Gina, the earth can hold your tears. You know, so maybe that's what you were connecting to, Rhonda.
Thank you, because I just felt it through my whole body.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Mary.
When we began, I did feel, I felt sadness, but then the more that I got into the practice, I could really feel the energy, especially between my two palms. I mean, and sometimes during my Dharma practice, I really feel the energy. First, it starts with my hands, and then sometimes my feet, you know, if I get into it, but it's really, really strong. And it felt like a way to connect, you know, to everyone.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Yeah. Well, so the energy of the heart, our heart is associated with the palm and the middle finger. And so, and that's fire, right? When we're talking about the 5 elements, that's all like, you know. And for me, like, I do that and I can feel the heat, right? And then through practice, we start to be able to call upon it, actually. And it's not unlike Tumo practice. It's actually the same thing. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. All right, so I want us to move into standing practice and moving practice. I just want to talk about it first before we do it. Typically in this style of Qigong, we do what is known as the shake. And the shake is a discharge practice. I'm going to guide us all through it. But the idea behind the shake is that we disorganize all of these habituated patterns. And in fact, that's what I was working with when I was in the upper Dention. Because I mean, I'm totally working with trying to break some patterns, right? So we're actually going to do that on a gross body level. And so we disorganize and then reorganize through form. Okay. And the shake will be like 10 minutes or so. Yeah. So we're going to come and stand. And I'm going to move you guys back a little bit so you can see me. And also, if you can, I like to have my bare feet on the floor so I can really feel it. If you're cold, obviously, you know, do what suits you best. But like, I don't even use a yoga mat for this practice. Move everything out of the way. And, you know, one of the great things about a Qigong practice is you really don't need a lot of space. I mean, even for a yoga practice. I mean, I've taught in detention centers and stairwells, and, you know, you have a body and about the length of your arms, and that's enough space. Okay, everybody can see me. I'm going to put a little music on, some of my favorite music to practice to, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. It's a cellist. His name is Garth Stevenson. Okay. So we're going to start off in very similar to yoga, to mountain. Feet are either together or hip width apart. Okay. And again, if you're not sure, check them out, right? When we align the body, we align the mind. And you can even pick your toes up, spread them out, and then put them down. That's always fun to do. Let me just turn this down a little bit. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is lift my lower ribs up and smooth my lower back down. So I'm working with the natural curves of my spine. I'm not overarching, I'm not slumping, yeah? Broadening the collarbones and lifting up the sternum. And I'm going to have my hands in what is known as the Tai Chi Mudra. So if you identify as female in this moment, the left hand is over the right, at thumb webbing is interlocked, and the hands are at the lower dantian. Okay. Earthly doors are closed. Heavenly gate is open. And what we're going to do is put a slight grip in our toes, okay, so that the arches pop up. This is known as the bubbling well. As we inhale and exhale. And take a moment and connect to the energy moving up through the earth, up through your body, out through the crown of your skull, and also back down again. That is the spiritual needle. That is also the same shape of the torus and of a black hole. We are infinite. And I always like to remind myself of this. Every inhalation that we take is the exhalation of all of the trees and the plants on the planet. With every breath, we are supported by and supporting life. As we inhale and exhale. And again, inhaling and exhaling. And then from here, we'll slowly release the mudra. Notice the quality of air on your right hand and your left. Step 1 foot to the right. And then from here, I'm just going to center myself. Inhale, reach your hands up. Okay. And again, to whatever degree possible, if your shoulders are tight, bend the arms. You can bring them here, right? We're going to reach up, stretch your fingers into the sky so you can taste it. The right hand and the left hand. And again, right hand, left hand. Maybe you reach up so much you come up on your tippy toes. Connecting the heavens and the earth through the human. And then turn the palms up. Arms come shoulder height, slight bend in the elbows. That's right. Again, feeling the heavens in your palms. And then slowly, slowly bending down, keeping your upper body upright to whatever degree possible. And then we're going to inhale and then exhale. Just begin to shake everything out. Okay, and we'll move kind of methodically through our bodies, but just kind of like shuffle your feet around, puttering the lips. I don't know about you guys, but I wake up sometimes, my jaw is clenched from the everything, and this helps. Releasing the muscles of the jaw and the face. And I'm going to use that sound, the hum sound. Hum. Right, that comes up through me and it helps move energy, not unlike the om. Hum. Okay, and then take your fingertips and we're going to gently tap on the crown of the skull. Okay, and you may notice where it's actually more sensitive, right, than like the forehead or the sides. The crown of your skull is where the fontanelle comes together. And we think of opening that. This is the spiritual birthplace of us through the crown of the skull. So we're going to tap. Okay, and then you can run your hands through your hair, which feels amazing. Inhaling and exhaling. Even pulling your hair, if that works for you. There's a lot of meridians in the scalp. Okay, and then cupping the hands, we're going to gently do the forehead and the occiput at the same time, patting. And the sides of the head. Okay, and then one of my favorite things, which helps me a lot, you guys can watch me for a sec. I'm going to take my 2 fingers, bring them to the sides of my nose, and on the inhale, right, clearing my sinuses. Okay, Qigong is also it's a preventative kind of medicine healing art. So what we're doing, clearing the sinuses, tending to our own health. Okay, I like to run my thumbs into the upper part of my eye sockets. I don't know about you guys, but so much zoom, my eyes get tired. And then another favorite one of mine, actually, I'd love to share this with Robina too, is you take the heels of your hands, press them gently into your eyes, drop your head forward. And that feels really nice. But then what we're going to do is rotate our eyes clockwise 9 times. And then counterclockwise 9 times. Helping to soothe the eyes, release the muscles of the eyes. Also notice the quality of mind that arises with that, right? So you can always return wherever you are to this or any of these. And then take your hands, you can run them down the sides of your neck. A couple of weeks ago, I'm pretty sure that I was most likely fighting COVID again because it's everywhere. My lymph nodes were very swollen, and this helped a lot. And you can reach back, hold on to the nape of your neck too. It's like picking up a cat, right? Really kind of reaching and grabbing those muscles, picking them up. And then take the hands, cup them again, and we're gonna move through the chest. And you may notice any chest congestion, you'll notice it immediately. This will help break it up. You may even notice one lung different than the other, which I just did. It's very interesting. You can do both hands. The abdomen too. And then come down the front of one leg. On the back. And then the other leg. And then up by the SI joint. Sacroiliac joint. Other side of your spine, just where your lumbar is, lower lumbar. Top of one arm. Inside. Right, noticing, mapping. Also, like, this is my body. Holy moly. You can take your hands, really releasing the wrists, fanning the heart. Yeah, and then it's like you're trying to get water off your hands. Right? You can even think metaphorically of like putting down or even throwing down what no longer serves you. And then we're going to release, this is one of my favorite things to do. I think Rhonda's done this with me before. It always cracks me up. I'm going to release the muscle of my tongue, which is connected to my heart, which is why I believe it feels awful when we lie. So I'm going to drop my head back. You can watch me, you can join me, but it feels great, right? And also think about all the times that maybe you didn't feel like you were allowed a voice. Give yourself your own voice. I know my teenager thinks I'm nuts. Okay, a little bit of shoulders. Right, that spiraling energy, right? As you're turning, maybe lift the heel. Spiraling energy that's moving up. Same shape as your DNA. Same shape our solar system makes as it spirals through the galaxy. Connect. And oh, hips, tight hip. One, other one. And then, you know, with your hips, go the other way too. Notice where it's tight or open, right? We're just noticing. Everything is information with no judgment, ideally, yeah? All right, and then one more thing, and then we're gonna freestyle for a minute. Take your hands. This is one of the most essential ones. Take your hands, rub them together. We're gonna make fire. And then take your palms to your kidneys on the sides of your lower back. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale into your palms. Heating the kidneys. Okay, the adrenal glands are on top of the kidneys. This, especially right now, helps with adrenal exhaustion. Let's do it again. All right, the fire of the heart is heating the water of the kidneys. And you may even notice one kidney feels a little different than the other. So before we go into form, right, just take the next minute and freestyle, move through your own body, right? That's your body, not my body. And notice. Notice what needs your attention. And then you can begin to just kind of slow it down a little bit, go to like 50%. And then 25 maybe. And then just kind of stop altogether. Kind of notice the tingling, the vibration, maybe the spaciousness. And then from here, inhale, draw the arms around, step the right foot back to the left. The fingertips face each other, the palms face the earth. They're not touching, but we're smoothing down the meridians of the subtle body. And it may almost feel like playing a harp in a way. Come back to the Taiji Mudra, back to your mountain. And And we end again with a sound, moving energy up through the central channel. So we're going to go right into the three jewels. The three treasures. See, they're so similar. Form, moving form, and then I think we'll do cloud hands, okay? So step the 1 foot out. And I want to be very mindful of time. So I'm going to come in, you can come into a very deep horse stance or a more shallow one, whatever works for you right now, okay? But please try not to arch your lower back. Feet parallel, okay? And I'm going to start with my hands here. You guys can watch me first or just kind of join in. We'll do it and we'll do it all together anyway, okay? Earthly doors closed, heavenly gates open. I'm going to inhale. When I get right about here, rolling my shoulders back, turning the palms up, hands to the sun. And I'm going to pause right here and practice photosynthesis, right? One of the greatest superpowers. Drawing light and energy into my body. Inhaling and exhaling. And then inhale, straighten the legs, extend the hands, press out through the palms, press, 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 press. And then straighten the hands, inhale, exhale and fold. Okay, if this is your first forward fold of the day, just be here for a minute. Wag your head yes, wag it no. Let the weight of your head lengthen your spine. Okay, and then put a slight bend in your knees. Inhale. And then exhale, gather earth energy into your body. Slowly, slowly. Rolling the shoulders back. Hands to the sun. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Straighten. Exhale, push. And then press out so much you get some space between your sternum and your ribs and your spine, and you can allow space to enter you. Inhaling. Exhale, extending the fingers, right? Extending them so much that we could touch each other's fingertips all the way across the country. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Exhale, slight bend in the knees, slowly rolling up, gathering the earth into you to nourish you, ground you. Hands to the sun to feed you, perhaps transform you. Inhale. Exhale, press out. Inhale. Exhale, extend. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Exhale, gather. Slowly, slowly. Inhale. Exhale. Allow the light of the heavens to fall into you. Through your hands, your wrists, elbows, shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, press out. Inhaling. Exhale, reach and expand. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Last one, okay? Inhale. Exhale, gathering into you. Feeding your heart with the earth. And then again, hands to the sun. Inhale. And exhale. And see if you can notice as we press out how you're moving molecules of air because you are. Extend. And then we're going to come right here. Okay. We'll do a little bit of cloud hands and then we'll come back to cloud hands next week, okay? Again, being mindful of time. So this is such an amazing practice. It's like leaving you with a teaser. I'm going to take my right hand and it's like the raindrop coming up to the clouds and around. Yep. So inhaling. And exhaling. So join me at any time. That's it. Right? Feeling all of the air over your palms. It's like you're reading the air as though you're reading Braille. And then the left hand. Right? And see if you can match your movement to mine. And then just for one moment, right, we're moving through air, but what would it be like if you were moving through water? And then what would it be like if you were moving maybe like through sand and you really had to like push? Right? And then choose for yourself. Air, water, earth. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. So you can practice this if you're fortunate to live with somebody that you're not sick of at this point. It's really beautiful to do this with somebody and mirror each other. And it's a really beautiful way of communicating with somebody without words. That looks great, Mary. Nice. All right, so from here, pause. Feel all of the energy you've cultivated in your hands, your body, your mind. And then just inhale. Draw it into you. And then we're going to step back. Again, hands come around, fingertips face each other, palms face the earth. Ending in the Taiji Mudra with the sound. Coming back to your mountain. And then you can release the mudra again. Feel the heavens in your palms, the earth beneath you. And the human. Okay, and we'll just end, we'll all come back to our chairs or cushions or whatever you have. So it's 2 o'clock your time, 4 o'clock my time. If anybody has anything that they have a question about, please ask. If you need to go, of course, please go. I would recommend just laying your body down on the ground after we say goodbye, so that you can kind of absorb all of that. Like, don't look at your phone. Yeah. And I'm just gonna end by showing you the kind of formal way that we end in the Qigong practice is that my left hand becomes the earth. Yep. My right hand is the heavens. And I bring my forehead to rest upon the earth and the heavens, but also to bow to each of you. Thank you for joining me in practice. It was an absolute pleasure and a joy. And I will see you next week. Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
So much.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
You're welcome. Absolutely. It's fun, isn't it? So yeah, please bring your body to the ground. Next week, I'll guide us through a sky mind meditation actually at the end. But let your body rest. And thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, you guys know how to reach me, I think. Okay.